This episode is going to be all about another book, and the book is amazing, the book is great, and I'm really looking forward to going through the book. But yeah, we're going to see you after the intro, or actually I'm going to see you after the intro, because there's going to be more. As always, I know that because there's an intro and there's more after it, and there's like... with that being said, hello, welcome back to next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast, and welcome to 2020. I know, it is insane. I think it is actually a pretty cool number though. 2020 sounds great, sounds cool, sounds amazing, sounds fresh, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this year and what the year is bearing for me. But still, before you even go through the episode and or through the book summary, on the right side of the screen, you're having two things to just give a fuck about. The first thing is notes, and as you can see then in the episode, there's going to be some notes or some things that I've highlighted in the article and or the book summary that we are going to go through, and everything like that is going to be compiled and compressed into one file, and you can download it, which means that if you're not really willing to listen to the episode, because it is also available as a podcast as well, and or watch the episode, you can also just look up the notes, and then that's quite it. It's quite everything that I'm gonna talk about. Of course, I'm gonna add things. But yeah, and if you're willing to have some background music in this video, please also check out the links in the description, I would appreciate it. And let's go through the podcast and or through the book summary. So as you can see on the left side of the screen, we are on the dereksivas.org site, or to be honest, and or to be more precise, on the sivas.org site, and we're going to talk about the book Too Soon Old, Too Late Smart, 30 True Things You Need to Know Now by Gordon Livingston. And to maybe give you a little bit more of just some sort of a background, I guess, of Gordon Livingston, he's actually a pretty interesting person, and the book is also a pretty interesting book to go through and also to just talk about, because the book is all about this. About the following. After service in Vietnam as a surgeon in 1968 to 1969, Dr. Gordon Livingston returned to the US and began work as a psychiatrist, or psychiatrist as it is actually called, and there's like no P and whatnot, and I'm always forgetting about it. Never mind. He's also parents twice bereaved. In one 13-month period, he lost his eldest son to suicide and his youngest son to leukemia. Out of a lifetime of experience, Livingston has extracted 30 bedrock truths. And we're going to go through those 30 rules or 30 statements. And the whole book is actually also about him listening to his clients. And he's just seen all these things. So these 13 rules, they are also consisting of these things that the clients have been talking about, which in the end also sounds like pretty amazing if you're thinking about it, because I do assume that there's got to be some patterns. There's got to be some patterns in terms of things that people are just talking about over and over again, because I'm also seeing that, to some degree. But I think if you're a psychiatrist and if you're just always having to deal with quote unquote negative people, or quote unquote people that are just in a really bad state, maybe also not, there's gonna just be some things, there's just gonna be some things that you're gonna notice, and that's amazing, and I think it is also amazingly beneficial for people like us that are going through this. People like us do things like this. Powerful and profound life lessons from a psychiatrist who's been listening to people's problems for decades. For decades, it is insane. If you're listening to somebody for decades, of course, you're gonna notice some things, probably. And also, I just assume that it's gonna be the case. I'm not quite sure, but we're gonna see. And as far as I've went through the whole one, and I haven't been going through the whole one because I wasn't able to, just because I was going through it in a train and whatnot. But I've been just seeing a few things, and I actually have to say that there's quite a few really good ones, and really good ones in terms of, okay, they are explaining some things in a pretty proper way, or a pretty good way as well, which is probably also just something that or something that you've recognized as well, which is actually kind of often the case, that we are actually seeing things, but actually explaining them and pointing them out is just, again, going to be like, well, yeah, that's quite right, I've seen this as well, but still we kind of forget about it just in the process of living life and whatnot, which is kind of a pity, to be honest, but it's like what it is, Still gonna be an amazing one, I at least hope. I'm gonna read, I'm gonna start reading, and we're gonna see. We are what we do. We are not what we think or what we say or how we feel. We are what we do. And I have to say that I think it's been either today that I'm gonna post something on LinkedIn or Twitter or something, or I've also been talking about it because I think that the power of thinking is actually pretty huge in terms of like what we are thinking about is probably also gonna influence how we feel, what we are focusing on, and all those things. Like the power of thinking is definitely real. It really is real. On the other hand, it is like, well, what we do just in the end is actually just making us doing things. The question now is thinking not also doing something? Because thinking is not nothing, because you are doing the thinking thing, which is like, okay, if you're thinking about that, if you're thinking about thinking, then it is also something that you're doing. And on the other hand, it is like, doesn't it start with thinking? Doesn't it start with just thinking about something, which then is going to lead to just doing something, which is then going to lead to just your habits, which is then going to lead to your life? Some kind of like there's some sort of a just chain reaction. There's like everything begins with our thoughts, then we are saying something. After we've said it, we're probably gonna do it, and after we've done it, it is our habits and whatnot. Like there's some sort of a chain reaction there. But I actually do have to say that in the end, it kind of really comes up to what we are doing, because of course, if you're thinking about learning, okay, you're thinking about fucking learning, but in the end, if you're not learning, then you're not learning, even though you think about learning, which is like kind of obviously to some degree and kind of not obviously to some other degree, it is what it is, In judging other people, we need to pay attention to what they promise, but to how they behave. So in judging other people, we need to pay attention not to what they promise, but to how they behave. Yeah, and I've been thinking about like my applications to certain jobs, because I've always been like, well, and I'm going to help your business. Because, by the way, just to kind of explain it, I think it is a pretty good way to just say that you're going to do something to the business and that you're going to be able to help the business. It's not about you, it is about the business. And if you do just want to get picked out of I don't know how many applications, then I think it is actually a pretty good thing if you're just writing down into your application that you're gonna just do something for the business. You're just willing to help the business grow. You're willing to help the business just grow in this certain department. If you're just hired as a, for example, design and whatnot, then of course you're probably not gonna have anything to do with the whole management of the whole system. But I think it is actually a pretty good thing to just say, okay, I'm gonna help you, because why should I be hiring somebody that is only thinking about himself or herself? And why shouldn't I be hiring somebody that is kind of quote unquote promising me to just help my business grow and help my business be better? It just really makes sense. I'm gonna hire the person that is just trying to help me, because why not? Because he's trying to help me. He's trying to help me with my business. He's trying to help me with whatever he's promising, quote unquote, whatever he's saying that he's gonna help me with. And I think it just makes sense. But on the other hand, it is like, of course, somebody can say that, and somebody can be like, well, I'm gonna help you and I'm gonna do this and that for you and whatnot. But if this person in the end isn't doing it, it is like, well, yeah, it is what it is. But on the other hand, before you're hiring somebody, you can't even tell. You can't tell if this person is actually gonna just really act on whatever he and she has been saying before. We don't know. We just don't know. Therefore, hiring is guessing and firing is knowing. It just makes sense. The three components of happiness are something to do, someone to love, and someone to look forward to. Something to look forward to. And I would also say someone to look forward to, even though it's, quite the same thing in the end. And I actually have to say, it is definitely the truth. If you're thinking about it, if you're having something to do that you actually like to be doing, what it is, your podcast, whether it is your YouTube channel, whether it is whatever you're liking to do, drawing, whatever it might be, it is just really kind of making you happy, because you know that there's something that you have to be doing. And there's something like a task, you're not living your life just unpurposely, kinda, but your purpose is to do whatever you like or whatever you just said, you're maybe even passionate about and whatnot. So there's something to do. Someone to love, I would also say so. I think it is just a really, really, really huge part of life to just have somebody around you, because as you've maybe also noticed, we are not really people that are just really liking to be alone all the time. Not really all the time. I think we do just need human interactions and also human connections. At least as I have just seen my life, as I have seen things, Whether it is actually somebody that you love or not, I think is just maybe something that's secondary. But I'm actually really not quite sure about that, because I also understand that it definitely just makes a fucking huge difference if you're actually having somebody that you are loving and this person is also loving you. So like a spouse or a husband or whatever it might be all about, it is definitely something that can make your life way better and way more interesting and way more diversified and also way happier in the end, but also something to look forward to. And I actually have to say, it could actually be about something that has something to do with your loved one or with the thing that you're doing, and or just something completely else. Like if you just know that there's going to be something in the future, for me, it, for example, would be seeing whatever I'm doing being successful. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also really working for that, and I'm working towards that. And it is like, okay, it is some kind of a goal, and or maybe some kind of a purpose as well. So I think in general, the word purpose, the word goal, and maybe love itself also as a word just makes sense in this context. I would say, I feel like, but I'm like, this is what I feel. So what are you thinking about? Write it down in the comments. I would appreciate it. I would really, 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 really appreciate it. We love someone when the importance of his or her needs and desires rises to the level of our own. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure about this one. We love someone when the importance of his or her needs and desires rises to the level of our own. I'm actually not quite sure about this, because it's like, I understand it, and it is actually completely about love. If you're really caring about the other people's goals and whatnot, then it of course is about just you are liking this person really, really, really a lot, because you're caring about his and or her goals as much as you're caring about your own goals, which is like a pretty huge thing. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it is just, if this is the case, then you're gonna love somebody. I don't really think that way. I think that you can also just love somebody if you're just also relatively interested in your own goals and your own achievements, or just in whatever you are willing to achieve, But I understand it, but I'm actually not that sure about it. We operate in the world mostly on autopilot, doing the same things today that didn't work yesterday. Yes. And it is actually a pretty good reminder for myself, and probably also for you as well, to just try out something new and to just try new things and do new things. Because as I've seen with myself and the podcast especially, I'm often doing the exact same things. At this point in time, it's working quite well, actually. I just somehow got some views out of nowhere. Things are seemingly just working. I don't know why, actually. Because I've also changed some things up. I've just tried to just make things better by making better things and whatnot. Like, I've tried, I really have tried, but still, maybe I should be doing something completely different. Maybe I should just be doing the podcast in a completely different way. Maybe it is just not going to be about reading something. Maybe it's just not going to be about going through book summaries and book notes or articles or whatnot, but for example, reading things and just then teaching these things, not really about reading, but more or less about talking. Then this might be a pretty huge step, this might be a pretty good thing that I could be doing. But there's probably also going to be some things that you can be doing, to change up whatever you're doing and what you have been doing yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before and so on and so on. So like, there's definitely going to be some things that you can change up to maybe make things better, but it is definitely then going to be about just trying out these things and seeing if you're actually going to make it better or if you're even going to make it worse. Because I don't know before I'm actually doing something and or working on something. The next one is also something that's quite interesting, which is our children owe us nothing, which I'm actually not quite sure about. Like, one of my goals definitely is also just giving something back to my parents and being able to do that. If it is money, if it is about something else, I don't know yet what it is actually going to be, but I'm willing to just give also something back specifically to them. I'm willing to just give back to the world in general, or to all the people in general, because I'd like to. I would really, really, really like to, which is also just one of the things that I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to do something here that is hopefully going to change somebody's perspective on some things or whatever I'm talking about or speaking about or reading about. This is also one of the reasons why I'm going through so many articles, to just give the information, give the just hopefully eye-opening metrics and eye-opening factors to just let people think about the world and about some other things in a different way. and in a better way, in a way that is just incorporating more happiness, incorporating more fulfillment. This is what I'm trying to do, just showing things, letting people recognize things through, first of all, information, through just, through what I'm doing. This is really what I'm willing to do here. So do our children owe us something? I don't know. Like, of course you have brought them up. Of course you have given them a lot of things, whether it is just materialistic stuff, money, love, whatever it might be. It just still heavily depends on your relationship to your children or with your children, which is then definitely determining that or influencing this decision of the child itself to just give something back and or not. Of course, if you're having a really traumatic childhood, you're probably not going to think about giving something back to those people, which in the end can be true or can be something good or not. Like, it just really depends on certain situations and or on the certain situation, at least in my point of view, But yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think it is something in between. I think it just really, as I said, comes up to the whole situation, what it is all about, and all those things. Like, it truly tremendously depends. Well-functioning families are good at letting their children go. Poorly functioning families tend to hold on to them, which might be true, might not be true. I think, or I thought it would actually be something that's quite interesting to see, this thought, this kind of perspective there. And maybe you just think like, well, it is the truth and it is actually the case. Or you think like, well, I don't think so. And I think both sides and both ways are just pretty fine. My favorite therapeutic question is, what's next? It bypasses the self-pity implied in clinging to past traumas. And it is like, well, what is next? What are you trying to do next? It's going to be about more or less about dreams. It's not necessarily going to be about traumas. It's going to be about dreams there. It's going to be about some things that this person is hoping for, that this person is maybe working towards to. If you're just being like, well, I don't know. I think this actually is a good question. What is next? What are you trying to see next? And then you can also just, I think, determine the amount of maybe happiness this person is having left, basically. Because if this person is like, well, I don't know what I'm just having to look forward to. There is nothing to look forward to. And I don't know what's going to be next. There is nothing next, probably. And then you're also going to see, like, in which state this person really is. But which is also something that is going to be part of another question. Therefore, we're going to move on. We're just going to move on. I don't have a clear idea of what people need to do to make themselves better. I am, however, able to sit with them while they figure it out. My job is to hold them to ask, point out connections I think I see between past and present, wonder about underlying motives. Yeah, it totally does make sense. You're probably not going to change the person, because most often you're not able to change a person by internal factors. Only because internal factors can change external factors can change the internal factors, which then changes the person itself. But you can't change a person externally. I think at least you can't do that, because unless I said it just really changes something inside of the person and then is giving them the motivation, also the willingness to do something about whatever. Whether it might be about losing weight, whether it might be about something else. But I think it's not going to be about something external. It's probably going to be about something that's internal. We are responsible for most of what happens to us. I would say so as well. And I think it is also just a good way to think about things. Any relationship is under the control of the person who cares the least. Maybe just because this person is going to be like, well, if you're the person that is carrying the least, then the other person is probably going to be like, well, I'm just trying to care more. I'm trying to get this person to care about me. I'm trying to get this person to do whatever I want. But in the end, it is going to be pretty strong, I guess. At least that's just how I'm thinking about it, some sort of. If this person is like just really not caring, then it's you're gonna do what this person is just willing to do. I guess in the end, at least that's how I'm feeling about it, what I'm seeing there. Feelings follow behavior. Well, it's difficult to say. Like, it really is fucking difficult to say whether it is actually the case or not. But I kind of have a feeling that, it would make sense. But I'm not quite sure. Again, not quite sure. Most people know what is good for them, know what will make them feel better. Exercise, hobbies, time with those they care about. They do not avoid these things because of ignorance of their values, but because they are no longer motivated to do them. They are waiting until they feel better, and frequently, which is the most important part, it is a long wait, which means that most often we're gonna just wait. Most often we are unfortunately waiting until something is happening, until we do something. I'm gonna wait till the next year just before I'm changing a pattern that I hate so much about myself. I'm waiting for the next year. It's gonna be my New Year's resolution. So why don't you just change it fucking right now? It is something that I can understand. It is about procrastination and procrastinating, and it is also gonna be about like, okay, it is easy to say that I'm gonna be better in the future because we're always thinking about the future in a way more positive way than we're thinking about the present. In the future, everything is gonna be better, kinda. Most often we are doing that. The thing there is, we are waiting often way too long, and just when the point is actually there, where the future is actually the present, then we're gonna be like, well, maybe I'm just gonna do it the next year. Maybe I'm just not gonna do that. But I have to say, if it is about just working out, if it is about happiness, if it is about just you feeling better, why aren't you doing that? I don't get it. Some sorta. I also get it because it is difficult. Working out is difficult. It is a simple thing, but it is definitely not easy. But I still don't get, especially when you're in a just maybe not that good, I don't want to say mood, I kind of want to say mood, but it's not about moods. But if your body isn't feeling good and you're not feeling good in your body, why aren't you just changing something about it? Because you can. We all can, whether you're just too skinny, whether you're just too fat or whatnot, or too overweight. We can also and always do something about it. If we want to, if we really want to. And it is basically something that's quite easy. Oh, it is quite simple, but it is not really easy. Like the concept is simple. Just eat less or eat healthier actually and work out. Then you're gonna lose weight. Eat more and work out. Then you're gonna gain weight. And then that's actually quite it. It is simple, but it is not easy. Happiness is the ultimate risk. There might be advantages to their being depressed. It is a safe position. Asking someone to relinquish depression is often met with resistance. To be happy is to take the risk of losing that happiness. By maybe trying out new things and discovering that whatever you have tried out or whatever you're trying out at this point in time is actually something that you like way more than whatever you have been doing before. Maybe. I don't know. When confronted with a suicidal person, I seldom try to talk them out of it. Instead, I ask them to examine what it is that has so far dissuaded them from killing themselves. And I actually have to say, and it is the last one for today, and these things are basically going to be down in the PDF, even though I think I'm actually going to go through the whole one. Yeah, I'm just going to try to figure it out. But I think it is just a really amazing one. If you think about it, like not talking about the negative thing, not talking about killing yourself, but talking about the positive thing, the things that actually, the barrier between you and killing yourself. What is the barrier? What are the people? Which people is it all about? Is it about your daughter that you're not willing to kill yourself actually? Is it about just your hobbies? Is it about just something completely else? I don't know what it might be about, but actually focusing on that and focusing on these things that are the barrier is just a really amazing thing. At least in my point of view, just shifting the focus and shifting your eyesight from black to white, from bad to good is just always an amazing thing to do. And it's amazing. It's just amazing. But yeah, and this is probably going to be the end of the episode. I hope that you've learned something. I hope that you've liked it. And I hope you've just had a pretty good time as well. It is loading there and it's kind of broken, but I'm still going to just go on. I wish you the best health of happiness and also success. And I also hope that you're going to remind yourself and you're going to be remembered, which basically means your legacy, which basically means being a nice person. On the other hand, I'm having 3 questions. The first one is, why are you here? The second one is, what are you trying to change? And the third one is, what is bothering you the most? Because these 3 questions are hopefully going to show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea. With that being said, I'll see you the next time. So please consider subscribing to the podcast and or to the YouTube channel. And I'm going to see you, hopefully, at least. It is what it is.